Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. I love this topic. I can't wait for you to meet our esteemed guest. It's Murray Beaulieu, and we're going to talk about real estate, what you do even after the sale. We're going to talk about how you can better yourself, your branding, get more traction out of it. And I'll really read it how real estate pros get more trust, referrals, income, and branding even after the sale. Murray Beaulieu, welcome to the show, Mr. Debt Buster. How are you today?
Thank you very much, Ted. Great to be here, and I'm glad to still be above ground.
Amen to that. Me too. Every day, every second I am, I'm very thankful.
It's huge. Yeah, you're
All
taking a big
right,
risk here, Ted. Go ahead. Yeah.
Murray's got a great sense of humor. If you didn't know, you will know by the end of this show. Murray, I told you before we went live that the audience loves an origin story because they kind of want to know how you got from point A to here, and then they'll listen to the rest of what you have to say. So give them a little 411 on you, Murray.
Beautiful. Ted, first of all, great to be here. It's been a pleasure. I've been following you since we got introduced, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much.
I'm honored to have you.
So I'll try to give you the Reader's Digest version. I was a 5-year Army officer, and I migrated into corporate Fortune 500 companies as a manufacturing controller for 3 different high-tech Fortune 500 companies. And as a controller, you're in charge of the money for manufacturing. So the cost of goods sold line was me. And, pretty big numbers, 9 digits of control. And luckily, I had a really good team. I was the dumbest guy in the team, but I was the only extrovert. So I had a bunch of introverted, really smart people working for me. And we saved tens or hundreds of millions of dollars for the company based on the systems we had and the education and, helping people make better decisions. But here's the irony, Ted. 40-year career in finance, and I didn't know how mortgage interest was calculated on a mortgage.
Understood. I don't think a lot of people know.
No offense to the mortgage industry, but how they call a 4% loan a 4% loan when you're really paying, north of 40 to 50%. It took me a while to get my head around that. You know what I mean? And so, you're right. I'm finding a lot of people don't know that even in the industry. But I had refinanced the house I'm in 3 times, and I was always looking at one thing, Ted. What was that? A lower payment.
Yes, lower payment.
Lower payment. This is right up your wheelhouse. Of course, I'm speaking to the preaching to the choir here. And now that I took an early retirement from that corporate gig, and now I'm looking at my mortgage from a different angle. Now I'm looking at when the heck am I going to pay this off? And it never dawned on me that the clock starts over. I'm paying heavy interest at the beginning of the mortgage, and now I'm horrified to learn that I'm not going to pay the same mortgage off. Well, not the same mortgage. The house I've been living in for 25 years, I'm not going to pay it off until I'm 80.
Yeah.
And that was the lowest point of my financial career. You can see it's long. Look how old I am. And so it was really humbling. And so I met a guy online who had this program, which we're going to talk about today. It's like a financial GPS, and it shows people how to eliminate all their debt, including their mortgage. We got a mortgage audience possibly here, right?
We do.
Including their mortgage in as little as 1/3 to 1/2 the time. And here's the key, Ted, without changing their lifestyle, their budget, or their cash flow. So this is not Dave Ramsey. First thing I'm going to say right out of the gate, this is not Dave Ramsey. You don't have to sell your car and ride a bicycle or live on ramen noodles. This is an award.
I guarantee you people are listening and going, oh my God.
Dave Ramsey.
There is no way. Or Dave Ramsey, or there's no way. There has to be some kind of crazy catch, some kind of It can't change. I don't have to change my lifestyle. No way could that possibly be true.
That is the biggest objection we get. Other than, is this Dave Ramsey? No, but it does sound too good to be true. But it's really, banks make money from money. They're brilliant. They squeeze every penny out of the timing and everything. And here's the unique thing that I didn't know. Another thing I didn't know, Ted, 40 years of experience. I didn't realize that every type of debt, they all have interest and terms, but the math on how you calculate your interest and the payments you make is always different between a mortgage, a line of credit, a credit card, a personal loan, student debt. They're all different. The math is all different. Now, banks, I didn't know that, or at least it never dawned on me. Banks know that. They make money off that. They leverage money. That's why the largest building in every city has a bank name on it. I don't know if you ever noticed that. But a quick example is your checking account. They pay you 0 interest, and then they loan that out to 10 different people for mortgages and for credit cards or whatever. And they're making interest rate arbitrage there, right? They're making what they charge, and they're not paying anything for it. That's the tip of the iceberg of banking formulas. So our program uses 56 pages of bank algorithms in the background, and it's constantly recalculating. And it's just math. It's optimizing everything you got. Most people have money laying around not doing anything. Our program is only using what's called discretionary income, like money that's not already going somewhere. So you don't have to change your life. If you're investing in something, you don't have to change that. You just use what's not being used, and it's putting it to good use, and it eliminates debt as fast as mathematically possible.
Well, let me ask, because obviously, I'll ask the question that I guarantee you people are thinking as they're watching.
Yes.
All right. There's got to be something I'm missing, Murray. There's got to be. I'm sure that people have heard a version of this before. They've probably heard something out there, and I'm not just Dave Ramsey, but other companies, other programs. And people are gun shy about it. They feel like, well, that seems too good to be true. So it, like we mentioned earlier, so I can't possibly do it. Murray, try to bring it down to their level as to why this isn't too good to be true. Why somebody like you, who was in the industry, who didn't know some of the things that you should have known, decided this was what you wanted to twilight with. Because that's kind of where
Twilight's a good word. Yeah.
Sorry, that's where we're at in our worlds, my friend. We both have the gray, so we're headed down that path. Why?
So I feel like I have the cure for cancer here. This is the most professionally rewarding thing I've ever done. Saving money for a company is great, but helping people get out of debt is just super. And we can talk about how the realtors and mortgage people can benefit from this. But just an example of how this works. First of all, we run an analysis for anybody before they tried it to see what we can do, and we guarantee the results. Personally, my mortgage is from 205. I'm going to be saving 110 grand in interest and 23 years of debt. That number is more important to me than the money. Time is more at my age. And I'm not changing my lifestyle. And we guarantee that. In fact, I'm going to beat it by 20%. So how does it work? It knows the math of all the kind of debts you have. And it knows where you are in a debt. If you're at the beginning of a mortgage or the end of a mortgage, it makes a difference, in terms of the mix between principal and interest. It knows how much income you have, and it knows your expenses. It's not connected to anything, but you connect it manually. Or we do have a way to connect it. But an example is, if you've heard of velocity banking before?
Yes.
Okay. So this is velocity banking on steroids. But in principle, velocity banking is the ability to take a HELOC or a line of credit, because the terms of the loan, it's using a simple average based on a daily average. So the interest you're paying on a HELOC per, a monthly payment you're making is significantly lower than the mortgage. And so an example of velocity banking, which is one of the 56 pages of algorithms, you could take out a 10% HELOC. You wouldn't have to pay that much, and pay $120 of interest over the course of the year. So that's $10 a month. And you could borrow $1,000 out of that and cancel out, 5 months of mortgage payments.
Wow.
Okay. Right. Think about that. As you know how mortgages work, the principal and interest are locked for each payment over a 30-year mortgage. Let's talk 30 years. That's the most common. Every payment, the principal and interest is locked. So when you cancel out the principal, you effectively eliminate the interest associated with that payment. You take the interest off the front end and the payment off the back end. In other words, so you reduce your payment 5 months, so you only have 355 total payments. You still have to make a payment in the next month, but you moved up in the line by, if you can visualize an amortization schedule,
Yes.
right? You move up in the line, you eliminate those 5 months, and you move up. So not only did you eliminate those payments, but the next one you make is going to be a little bit more principal now, right? Because every month the principal gets a little higher on the payment, the ratio of principal to interest. So, and if you look at the math, you're only charged like $10 for the interest that month on the HELOC, versus, you know, thousands of dollars you're saving in interest on the mortgage. That's just a tip of the iceberg. So this thing is using that math to your favor. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. I think that what people, because even though
It's kind of a visual
mentioned
thing.
it, but you mentioned it earlier, you were both finance background kind of people. Trying to think differently about that can be a challenge. So yeah, I think people love, I know people will love to hear about how to do it and learn more. But
Yeah.
I think what people, there's a natural fear, right? You're like, well, that's something I really don't understand. This is what everybody's told me I need to do, and so I'm going to do that till I die.
Yeah.
You have to get, I believe, and your program have to get to the people on a simplistic level, which you're doing right now, and really kind of explain it in a way that makes sense to the general person, the regular Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Okay. So great question. So it's like a financial GPS. So a GPS gets you to where you want to go as fast as possible. You put in the direction, you put in where you want to go, the destination, and it's going to say, okay, take the next right, take the next left. And if you use something like Waze, which takes into consideration current travel conditions, if the bridge is out or if there's a cop or if there's a traffic jam, it'll give you an alternate route. Our program is just like that. It will tell you where to move your money around. It doesn't turn the wheel for you. It's like a GPS. It doesn't turn the wheel. You still got to move the money from this account to that account to cancel out interest. Okay, it's going to decide for you, of all the debts you have, which one, and where you are in the debt, which one is going to give you the most bang for your buck. And so it's going to tell you to move, you know, on Tuesday, May 15th, move $326 from checking to MasterCard XYZ, because that MasterCard is going to get you the most bang for your buck to get out of debt faster, based on all the debt you have, right? Or it could be mortgage XYZ. You know, you don't have to know all that. You just have to follow the GPS. You just have to follow the steps.
You give them the program, gives them that instruction, because I think that's where most people would fail. They'd be like, okay, this sounds great, Murray, but dear God in heaven, if I have to think about one more thing on my plate, can you make it easy? And you guys have obviously made it easy.
It looks like Quicken, okay? It looks like an electronic check register, and it's bringing in your income, you know, your budget and all that, and then and the debt you have, and when the debt payments are due, and it's looking at all your everything, including the future. And here's the thing: it recalculates in real time. Like if the bridge is out on a GPS, it says, okay, you're going to have to forget that, make the next right. Or if you miss a turn, recalculating, right? And so it reacts in real time. This is not a static system. And so it will, you know, you tell it what you did, you know, payment wise, your online banking. And then every once in a while, it's going to come up and say, okay, based on all that, based on what your income is going to be and your expenses, make this move here. And there's a dashboard at all times. It's a software program is the core of this. Okay. If you haven't, if that wasn't obvious, there's a dashboard that tells you to the date, you're going to be debt free if you follow all the steps. And so you can see the results before you actually make them, of how it affects the date you're going to be free of debt.
So cool. So for people who are out there watching, what's your number one objection when you sit down with someone? Let's say you've gotten in front of someone's curious enough, and then what's your number one objection, and how do you answer that for people? Because I guarantee there's a whole bunch. People will find ways not to do something because there's fear. They don't understand. It's fear of the unknown. But when you sit with someone, you must have one or two top objections. How do you handle them? What are they, and how do you
actually, the number one objection, it sounds too good to be true, you know, but everything sounds too good to be true until you've heard it before, you know. Cars sounded too good to be true when there was horses, and planes sounded too good to be true when there was cars. And, cell phones sounded too good to be true when there was landlines, right? And Excel sounded too good to be true when there was 13 column accounting legal pads. So, there's nothing else like this. By the way, the founding guys of the company, I should have mentioned this, were two mortgage guys. They used to own a mortgage company, and they saw too many people refinancing and getting further and further into debt. So they pivoted. They spent millions of dollars on this program, which we're on version 6 now. And they wanted to help people get out of debt. And it's a very compelling story. I don't want to go into the details because it's beyond the scope of this call, but it really is, it sounds too good to be true is the number one thing. So we run an analysis. You can't break this system. It's very easy to use. It sounds, if you use Quicken or Mint or anything like that, you can do this. If you do online banking, you can do this. Okay. And we give you coaching and all, and training and unlimited upgrades for life. So it's very popular. My number one client, I want to throw this out there for real estate people, right? Think about this. This is the moral of the story. If you are a real estate professional, whether you're an agent or in the mortgage industry, think about this question. I'd love to sell you your dream house. And then I'd like to show you how to pay it off in 5 to 7 years. Do you have a few minutes? Or what if there was a program that could show you how to wipe out all your debt in as little as, 1/3 to 1/2 the time without changing your lifestyle? Would you want to hear more? This is a way where people in the real estate industry can compete and surpass the competition. Imagine, and in our teaser here, we said even after the sale, you can make money. You can help your clients even if there is no sale.
Right.
You can go back to everybody in your dead file, or any previous prospect or client you've had. Anybody that's been a client of yours has a mortgage. Anybody with a mortgage is the number one. They might not think they're in debt, but they have a debt.
Sure.
They're paying interest, right? And so even though they might not think they're in debt, we can save them money. You can save them money if you're in the real estate industry. Imagine going back to those clients you've already serviced. You've already helped them get their dream home. Now you'd like to help them pay that off quicker. So this can fill in the gap of the real estate cycle is erratic, right?
Yes,
and it's hard to predict income, and everything's challenging. We don't have to go into all the reasons why things are challenging now, but you can make money from this. I don't know if I made that clear. There's a way to build an agency here. So this can be not only an additional stream of income, but a way to brand yourself. You're going to stay top of mind every day that client is using the program.
That's right.
They're going to be thinking of you, and that's free marketing, right?
And that's how you still make an impact even after the sale.
Even after the sale.
I think that's brilliant, because I think a lot of times, it's our business tends to be, even though we want it to be relational, it's transactional.
It's transactional.
And so the transaction's done, and we set up a drip campaign, and we keep in touch, and we say happy birthday. But if you can provide some sort of added value, some sort of long-term, short-term added value, either way or both, you are really staying top of mind, because I guarantee you, just like Murray said, they will think about you every single time they see that change, every single time they see that scenario and that impact.
And as they're paying off debt, they're building equity.
Yeah.
And so when they buy their next home, which is going to be a lot faster now because they're paying off their first one, or when they buy that second home or that investment property, my number one clients are real estate investors. I want everybody to hear that. People who have mortgages and people who buy property and rent them out are my number one client. And they're using our program to help pay off their other mortgages. Some of them are using it in combination with something called infinite banking, which you may or may not know about. It's a way to leverage. You've heard of it. It's a pretty cool thing. I would highly recommend. That's not what I do, but it's pretty cool. Whether you know that or not, using this program will help. The type of clients you're going to get, the opportunity for another conversation.
Yes.
If anybody's life is a book, Ted, if your life is a book, the amount of time in that book that you're looking to buy or sell a home in your life is going to be like 2 sentences.
Right.
But the amount of time you're in debt is going to be multiple chapters.
True. So
Nothing
true.
personal, Ted. Am I right?
No, I think we've all been in that boat, feel like we're in that boat. I think everybody has experienced that or continues to experience that. That's a great analogy.
Yeah. So, and the two things that I really like about it, the money is, but it's really the ability to help somebody. And this sounds squishy, but I really professionally rewarding. It's really great. Probably the same feeling you get selling somebody their first home. I'm sure.
Listen, when we get somebody into their first home with
It's got
our
to be great.
mortgage, it's just such a beautiful thing because most
Yeah.
people never thought that they
Yeah.
would ever be in that position. And so yours is the same. It's just a different vehicle,
Different vehicle.
different way to think of things. All right, Murray, tell them the best way they can reach out to you. We have lots of questions, but I'm going to let you go back and answer them. And I'm going to make sure that they know how to reach out to you later.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm passionate about this, so thank you for keeping a leash on me. Otherwise, I'll talk forever.
You've been great, man.
I'm on LinkedIn, and that's all I use is LinkedIn. So please connect with me. Do a search. My last name is very hard to spell. Hopefully, it'll be in the show notes. But do a search for Debt Buster, and then you'll find me. There's nobody else that Murray Beaulieu, French name. Connect with me, ask questions, and if you're not on LinkedIn, just email me. Murray, Murray, don't forget the A, at boostedprofits.com, all one word. But LinkedIn is by far the vehicle of choice.
All right, y'all reach out to Murray, or if you can't find him, I'll get you to him. Reach out to me, and I'll get you to Murray. Everything's scrolling across the bottom, but of course, you can always find me, and I will get you to him. My friend, that was awesome, educational, fun, and it's something we all need to hear. And I love how you talked about how real estate professionals can utilize it. Top of mind is where we all want to be when we're in this market. And so if you can add value and see people think about you every single time they are paying something down, paying something off in a way that makes sense, that's worth it.
Sense. No pun intended.
That's right. All right, Murray, you're a joy. You guys reach out. Definitely reach out to him. He'll get back to you, and so will I promise. Murray, come back on anytime.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Ted.
so much.
It's been a pleasure. You rock.
Show. All right, we'll see you guys
baby.
later.